This is another of those multi-layered, multifaceted JKD issues, which sometimes make me question why I ever took on the role of becoming an online Jeet Kune Do commentator. With this topic, it'd be so easy to tangent off and talk about it from several different angles, but I'll limit myself only to the subtopics which appear to be important to quite a number of people out there in the Jeet Kune Do world. Hello everyone, this is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Do Rebel, and welcome to the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast number 114. This is the one about just what does Dan Inosanto teach. So as you're logging in, if you guys would be kind enough to say where you're logging in from and hit the like button, and feel free to continue doing so throughout the broadcast. Let me just take a quick look who's here. Terry Valler's here, Mark David Collins, Bob Landers is here, Amir De Leon. All right, cool. All right, so be sure also to sign up for notifications for when we go live here on Facebook, but also over on the YouTube, where you should subscribe and hit the notification bell so that you're alerted when I put up the final edit videos. And if you enjoy the work that I'm doing here on the broadcast and the dialogues, and you'd like to support the program, feel free to visit jkdrebel.com/store and check out our offerings. But of course, the best thing you can do is to just share this video and spread the word about the I Love Jeet Kune Do broadcast. Okay, so let's start with the haters, as they call them. It's not really a word that I use, but since they are somewhat the funniest group. So some of these seem to believe that Inosanto is like a money-hungry grub who's been making a good living teaching multiple martial arts while passing them off as Jeet Kune Do. Strangely enough, there seems to be no record of Dan Inosanto ever making like a clear and distinct declaration that what he believes is that any and everything can be Jeet Kune Do. And so when he teaches these multiple martial arts, he is suggesting or even directly saying that these are the things that make up Jeet Kune Do. In fact, in the 1980s, he even went so far as to coin a term, Jeet Kune Do concepts, to emphasize that what he was teaching on seminars was not at all to be considered Jeet Kune Do. And that should have settled everything. You would think that that would settle everything, right? But no, it didn't. And so to determine why that didn't settle everything, we need to backtrack to even before the 1980s. So let's go back like 20 years before that, back in time to the mid or late 1960s, when the Los Angeles Chinatown branch of the Junfan Kung Fu Institute was open, and where what was being taught was referred to as Jeet Kune Do. Now, after the Chinatown school closed, I think it was open for about 2 years or so, and people went into Inosanto's backyard. What was being trained in the backyard was also still being referred to as Jeet Kune Do. So still there weren't really any problems. Now enter 1974, and for lack of a different expression, a more commercial enterprise was undertaken with the opening of the Chinese Boxing and Filipino Kali Academy, often referred to quite simply as the Kali Academy, which is significant. And at that establishment, beginning students were immediately told, and I'm pretty much quoting here from, one of my favorite sources, right? It says, beginning students were immediately told that what they were learning was not Jeet Kune Do. Instead, I'm paraphrasing actually, they were made aware that they'd be on the receiving end. I'm pulling an Adam Schiff. They were made aware that they'd be on the receiving end of a general self-defense course, which included elements of boxing, Wing Chun Kung Fu, Eskrima, Panantukan, and even a little bit of Kempo, right? And so that's on page 153 of the Jeet Kune Do Art and Philosophy book. Okay, so now at the Kali Academy, the Jeet Kune class, that was an entirely different deal. That was an entirely different subject, right? Now, fast forward back to the 1980s, and if you're thusly inclined, if you're feeling somewhat magnanimous or mentally generous, you could consider this general self-defense course that I just described, when taken out of Torrance, California, where the Kali Academy was located, and now being spread around the world in public seminar format, that could be considered what became known as Jeet Kune concepts. Now, granted, many people were attracted to a Dan Inosanto seminar because of his connection to Bruce Lee. So there's no denying that confusion could have ensued if they attended a seminar and were taught aspects of those arts and aspects of other arts as the seminar thing continued, and Sifu Inosanto continued to delve into different areas. And so confusion could have ensued, and people ended up assuming that what they were being taught was Jeet Kune specifically. And maybe one day we'll debate exactly who might be responsible for this confusion, but that'll be at a later date, right? But let me make the point that it was, I don't remember exactly when, but it was at some point in the 1980s that I heard about the promise that had been made to not teach Jeet Kune commercially. But I was also privy to the fact that Jeet Kune was taught by Inosanto in the private lesson setting, because I had seen it happen in Los Angeles. And then in October 1989, this was the Monday morning after the first weekend Miami seminar that I hosted, I was treated to a private lesson on the Jeet Kune wooden dummy, Jeet Kune trapping hands, and Chisao. So there's that, right? Okay, now we'll do a JKD thing that I like. So usually on the Tuesday before the Wednesday broadcast, I'll put out the preview postcard, and a lot of times at that time, an entire discussion, right, follows with everybody weighing in like 24 hours before I even produced the program, right? This didn't happen with the postcard. It happened with just a little clip that I don't even remember why I put it up, but it was just a clip of Sifu Inosanto taken from the Way the Warrior documentary. And it's just Sifu Dan talking about being secure in your knowledge and what have you. So I put that out. And of course, what happened was a bunch of people started commenting and what have you. And the reason why this is a Jeet Kune thing that I like, right, as you can see here, is so my JKD colleague, Carlos A. Gonzalez, he had some very astute and very perceptive comments on Sifu Dan's character, on his principles and his loyalty to Bruce Lee. My boy Billy Brown also had some fortifying statements, as did Davis Lear, an actual Kali Academy student from the 1970s and 80s, who I'm happy to say will soon be my partner on an upcoming episode of the Jeet Kune Dialogues, right? This I like. This I like to see happening in our Jeet Kune world. So let me get this out of there if I can. There we go. Okay. So let me start to wrap this up. So I'll direct you to a source for the guideline for the actual answer to this question. And believe it or not, of all places, where do you think you could find the actual answer? Ta-da! It is on let me see, page 36, right? Of all places, Dan Inosanto's Filipino martial arts book. Give me a second there. All right. So here's what it says. And yeah, well, I'm mostly quoting. What is learning? A journey and process, not a destination and conclusion. What is an instructor? A guide, not a guard or a dictator. What is discovery? A constant process of questioning of the answers, not answering the questions. What is the goal? Open minds so that you can be, not closed issues so that you have to do and follow to achieve the goal. What is the test? Being and becoming, not just remembering and reviewing. What is the school? Whatever we make it. Where is the school? Anywhere, not a four-cornered classroom, wherever we are. And now this is it, see? So I cheated you out of 10 minutes. I could have told you this right at the beginning. We would have been on for like 30 seconds. What do we teach? Individuals, not lessons, not styles, not systems, and not methods or techniques. And that's key. What Dan Inosanto is doing today, which he started doing decades ago, is giving us the tools to open our minds, to train our bodies, and to find our own way to Jeet Kune. Always a process and never a product. Okay, so I know that many of you will have a lot to say, but try to understand this. If you come from a different Jeet Kune camp and you think that you're contributing by being disparaging or condescending towards Dan Inosanto, you're not contributing to the forward movement of Jeet Kune, and you're not being a classy representative of your own lineage or of your own Jeet Kune instructor, who would probably never publicly talk about Dan Inosanto in the same way that you do. Okay, all right, that's it for today. Feel free, share, like, comment, ask questions. I'll review everything after posting. Follow me on Twitter at Dwight Woods and on Instagram at Dwight D. Woods. At ilovejeetkundo.com, Quick Skill Series Volume 1 available. Coming up on Friday, February 14th. Yes, Valentine's Day. Jeet Kune Dialogues episode with Sean Madigan of Dudes of Kung Fu podcast. That's this Friday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard. Today's beige, brown, or pink day. There we go, right? And I'll see some of you here on Friday at 6 p.m. Some of you back here next week for another issue of the I Love Jeet Kune broadcast. This is Dwight Woods, the Jeet Kune Rebel, signing off. Enjoy the rest of your day. Take care now. See you soon.
Gonna help you go up the hand tap, and go put the big. When I lift it up, you need to put it. Because the putting range is when you do all the knee and the off balance of the body. Okay? Stick fighting, I showed it to him and he learned his thumb single stick and double. And then we started to experiment with different things and we sparred with it a lot. He didn't want to learn the basics. Okay, we just try to hit each other. That's his format. And let me see what you do from there. Then that's how we did a lot of things from there, and brilliant from that aspect. I think he really liked the Filipino martial art, or else we wouldn't have sparred so much. And because we in Hollywood, he'd always make these foam sticks that we could do it. See, there was no protective gear. That was a drawback of the Filipino martial art. The first generation did not have armor. People got hurt. That's why it was never popular. As Kendo, the Japanese were smarter. They had headgear. See. Right now, the Philippines